Hello, I am going to give you guys two videos today. This first one is on what's called the triangle inequality theorem, which says that if you have three lengths, sometimes you can make a triangle and sometimes you cannot make a triangle with those lengths. That is the first part. The second video I'm going to make is this down part where it's like ordering angles from least to greatest, which is if you have the sides, you can kind of tell what the angles are going to be in terms of how big or small they are, or vice versa. If you know the angles, you can kind of tell how big these sides would be compared to each other. But for this first part, as I said, can these three lengths make a triangle? Which seems kind of weird as a question starting out with. For instance, if I was to draw a triangle, you could conceptually just label these anything if I wanted. I could do this is 500, this is 700, and this is 100, something like that. Like, you can label three sides anything, but just because you label them doesn't mean it's actually possible, because this is not 500, this is not 700, and this is not 100, right? This is not to scale. If you look at this thing, hey, let's actually measure it. This is obviously not 100. This is like 1.5. And if you measure this thing, this is 1. And this one's probably also going to be 1. It's not 500 versus 700. It's saying if it was to actual scale, can you make a triangle? So I'm going to just kind of show you. Let's pretend I had one that is 2 inches this way. So this is 2 inches. And then I was to say I want another one to be 1 inch. So I'll go here, I'll make a 1 inch mark. Then, I could just connect these things, and I'm not going to, but as you can see, it would be about a 1.5. So from where I drew this angle right here, it would be 1.5. So obviously there is a triangle when I put the other side as 1.5. But what else could it be? Well, what if I made this angle shorter? I still kept it as 1 inch, but all of a sudden I put it here instead, a much, much, much smaller angle. Then you would notice that this right here connecting them is now less than 1.5. So this distance could also be it. Whereas if I wanted to completely turn around, I'm going to use this awesome tool. If I was to take this 1 inch thing, which, is the same here, if I was to extend this and just create a different angle, then any point along this way, this is all 1 inch because it's a circle, you could see that, it can be well beyond 2 inches as well. So the question is, what is the biggest it could be? What is the smallest it could possibly be? And basically you just go to the two extremes to find that out. Like, if I just went and tried to create an actual line segment, that is, I was to taper this down all the way to just here, and this is now 1 inch. Well, if this was a line segment, then this would have to be 1 inch as well. But that creates a line. So 2 inches, it cannot be 2 inches because that would make a line segment. But if I was to go anything above that, as you can see when I actually measured it, this is a little bit more than 1 inch. Okay. Also means it can't be 1 inch, right? It has to be more than 1. So the third side has to be more than 1. But at the same time, what if you opened it as much as you could the other way? Boom, 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 boom. Boom. If it was to open up over there to like kind of what would be 180 degree, then this would once again not be a triangle. As soon as you try to connect this point with this point, you're connecting it with a line rather than a third side of a triangle. But if you were to kind of move it over here, you could create a triangle like this with these three sides. In which case you have a 1 inch side. I'm sorry, I was supposed to be connecting them over here. There you go. So you have this 2-inch side that was given. Right, this was our 2-inch side. This is our 1-inch side. But you can make a triangle now with that third one, which if you measure is just going to be anything, what is that, 3? So it can't be 3, but it can be anything shorter than 3. Because as soon as I put it at this point, you can see it's just under 3. If I put it here, you can see it's definitely under 3 now. And if you keep just going along this, you'll see it eventually just gets smaller and smaller and smaller until eventually, when it goes along this, it comes back up to exactly 1. So it can go from 1, and then it goes around here until it gets to 3. So it has to be less than 3. And that is, once again, as a reminder, when we were given the 2 inches and the 1 inch, right? So we knew this was 2 inches, we knew this was 1 inch, and depending on where we put it, we could make it a minimum of 1 or a maximum of 3. So maybe you can kind of just guess. If you have the two sides, 2 and 1, then what would you do with those in order to get these other numbers? So like if I had another triangle. Oops. Sorry, I had another side. I wanted this one to be 5 feet, and I want the other one to be 2. And I am trying to do this to scale, so 2 is going to be about this much. 2 feet. So obviously this is not feet, but approximately that. Because, you know, if you were to go down here, this is about 2 out of 3. So maybe a little bit more. And if I was to do my same old trickeroony, if I was to swing this angle, so no matter where I am, this is being a representative of 2. Hold on. I'm going to do this the real way. Okay, so that's enough. So no matter what, this is going to be 2 inches no matter where I go. You know, this is, I'm sorry, 2 feet. We're on feet now, etc. You would see that if you swung this down to be right here, and this is 2, then how much would be left here? And that answer is 3 feet. So it can't be 3 feet because then it's going to be a line. And if you swung it out this way, and this is 2 feet, then if this is 2 feet, you could then see that the whole thing is going to be the 2 feet plus the 5 feet is the 7 feet. So if we started with 2 and 5, what do you do with 2 and 5 to get 3 and 7? Because if you can answer that, then you can do every problem on the front now. This is just the concept. So it's add and subtract them, right? 2 minus 5, or 5 minus 2 is 3. 5 plus 2 is 7, and that's it. That is the way to tell. I just wanted to do all this to explain so you can kind of see why some triangles exist and some of them don't. It's just sometimes it's just not there. In terms of how we're going to do the problems on here, you just have to verify that it's actually kind of in that range. But to be honest, the easiest way is just to kind of add these together, and it has to be bigger than the third side. Here's why, if that part doesn't make sense. It's related to it, but basically, if once again you were to have something like 2 inches, which actually goes off the page a bit. Well, actually, let's just do the problems. I think it'll make more sense that way. So here we go. Determine if the side lengths could form a triangle, and it says use inequality. I'm going to do that later, so let's just do this first part. So what we're going to do, if you're a person who just likes, tell me what to do, Mr. Anderson, and I don't care about anything else, then this is what you're going to do. You will add the two smallest sides, and it must be bigger than the third, or must be greater than. And that's it. That is how you do these first questions right here, all of them. You just take the two smallest numbers, add them together, and they have to be bigger than the third. Which you would notice worked on all of these, right? If you took any of these and added it to that, it would have to be bigger than the other. Because like 1 plus 1 is 2. So anything more than 1 would make something more than 2, which is what we need, something more. So in this case, 16 plus 21 is 37. So 37, is that more than 39? And the answer is no. So it cannot be a triangle. For this one, 34 plus 27, if you add those together, you get 61. So is 61 more than 58? Ooh, I'm going to throw a math symbol in there. Is it greater than 58? Because that's the greater than symbol, which sometimes questions will ask. They'll say, write the inequality or something like that. This is a greater than symbol. So is 61 greater than 58? Yes. So it is good to go. In this one, 12 and 12 are the smaller numbers. So if you add those together, you get 24. Is 24 greater than 25? No. So they can't make a triangle. What's going on there? Let's get some extra paper in there. Is basically if you were to have a side this big, a side this big, and a side this big. Once again, you can change these angles, but as you can see, there's no way to make these three lengths into a triangle. You could try to swing this guy down or something, you'd try to make something here, but there's no way these are ever going to connect. This one side is just way too big. It's way too big. And that's what's going on here. If you're going to have something this small, you have to have something much bigger in order to actually connect it. So this side and this side have to add together to be bigger than the third side. Because they can't be equal to. If they were equal to, like if here's the original, if the one side plus the other side was equal to, then it would just be a line. But if this side plus the other side was shorter, that would make even less sense. Because if you had the one side plus the other side is shorter, then it wouldn't even connect, right? This is if it was shorter. So one side plus another side. If it's trying to get to that other part, but it can't reach it. So equal is no good because it makes a line. Less than is no good because it doesn't even connect. So it does have to be bigger if you have that side. It has to be like this is big and this is bigger, so that if you're to actually, actually try to connect it into something good now, you could lift it up, so to speak. Because this plus that is bigger now. Because if you were to flatten this down, like take this and go flatten it down, then this side would push out in that other side, right? So it would be longer. So the two things have to be bigger. But now we're going to do what we did in the first part. Given two sides of a triangle, find the range. It's just that whole add them together or subtract them, right? Which we did here, right? If you add them together, you get the 7. You subtract them, you get the 3. And that's all we're going to do. That's all. So 17 minus 4 equals 13. And then 17 plus 4 equals 21. So that is what you do. Knowing what to do is not difficult, but sometimes they write it differently. This is how you would write your answer. I'm going to do this in red. This red part right here is always going to be in the answer. Like, I haven't even read the next one yet, but I know this is going to be in the answer. It's just how they write it. It's going to be an inequality, a double inequality. And it's just the smallest number goes first. Oh wait, that was supposed to be 21, which means I messed this up. So 13 is less than x is less than 21. That is the answer. 13 is less than x is less than 21. Get them through adding them or subtracting them. By the way, if you've noticed, I'm only doing the left side. I recommend at the end of the video, just trying them all on the right side to see if you understand what's going on, and then I'll tell you the answers. Okay, for this next one, 32 minus 9 and 32 plus 9. Minus is going to be 23, and plusing will be 41. So 23 and 41. So 23 is less than x is less than 41. That's the answer when it says to find a range. That's what it's saying. Just to explain this for a second, the less than, this is saying that x is greater than 23. If you kind of read it backwards, x is greater than 23. 23 is less than x. So 23 is less than x, so x has to be bigger. And then x is less than 41. So it's less than 41, but it's more than 23. It's literally between them. And this is something that comes up on SATs a bunch of times, just the notation. So in your mind, it is easier to just say between. So I strongly suggest doing that. Don't say 23 less than x less than 41 in your mind. Just say, oh, x is between 23 and 41. X is between 13 and 21. Here, similar thing. We're going to take these two numbers, find the possible lengths. Well, there's going to be 27 minus 11 and 27 plus 11, which is going to be 16 and 38. So keep in mind it has to be between 16 and 38, but not including. Not including. Please remember that part. It is not including. It cannot be equal to. We did that on the back. It cannot be equal to. It is almost guaranteed. Like, I'm just going to cover these up. I'm going to go ahead and guess that one of them is 16 or 38 to try and trick me. Because it cannot be 16, it cannot be 38. It has to be between them. More than 16, less than 38, right? More than 16, less than 38. And sure enough, right here, there's the 16. It's not going to be 16. It has to be more than 16. And it also has to be less than 38. So that's not less than 38. And I guess the rest are okay. Between 16 and 38, between 16 and 38, between 16 and 38. There we go. So is these three right there in the middle, not the back ones. Okay. And that's all we're doing for this video. Like I said, I recommend doing the other side. Just pause it right now and do it, because I'll go through the other ones very quickly, but only very quickly. So go ahead and give these a try. Pause it and try it. Okay, let's see. The two smallest lengths are 6 and 13. If you add those together, you get 19. Is 19 greater than 18? Yes, yes it is. Here, the two smallest sides are 9 and 29. So 9 plus 29 is 38. Is 38 greater than 38? No, it is not. They are equal, so that one is not greater than the other. 14 and 19. If you add those together, you get 33. Is 33 greater than 31? Yes, yes it is. 24 plus 52, and then you subtract them. I guess that'll have to be 52 minus 24, which is 76. And this will be, let's see, 8, 3, 28. So 28x 76. Once again, it's always going to be less than symbols. It never changes. You will never see greater than. Always less than. Let's see, 16 plus 17, 16 minus 17. That'll be 33. There you go. 3 and 54, oh boy. Okay, so 3 and 54 equals 57. And then subtracting would be 51. So it has to be between 51 and 57. So it can't be 51. can't be 58, can't be 57. 53 is between them, 55 is between them. There you go. Okay, so that's everything we're doing on this one. Have a good one.